Mary Walter.
Hey, are you kidding me? The truth about Sydney, she's got a problem with the opposite sex. And if you don't like boys, don't you like boys' toys? Then also level you and she would connect. Hey, are you kidding me? The truth about Sydney, she's got a problem with the opposite sex. And if you wonder who's to blame, tell me how the hell she'd get a man's name. Her daughter Rachel, she went out to get a facial and she came home with her hair all a mess. She smelled like perfume with bones and pretty fingers, painted toes, and a freaky yellow lipstick stain on her dress. Her daughter Rachel, she went out to get a facial and she came home with her hair all a mess. Well, Sydney thinks they are exclusive, but her Rachel is elusive at best.
You're listening to Life with Mary Walter.
Life with Mary Walter.
Sydney's sister Sadie Boulder grew up in Haiti where she's well practiced in the art of voodoo. But next time nature calls, thanks to Sadie's voodoo dolls, they'll be burning like a fire for you know who. Her sister Sadie Boulder grew up in Haiti where she's well practiced in the art of voodoo. But with her low-grade guitar, Rachel won't be flirting, no.
Life with Mary Walter.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Smoke rings rising in the air, and words said on paper that you don't even care to share. With all your friends gathered all around to hear this sudden slippery sound. We'll take 'em back to where you once belonged. Show them everything you've got. Take 'em back to where you once belonged. This is your big shot. Take 'em back to where you once belonged. Show 'em what you got. Take 'em back to where you once belonged. This is your big shot.
You're listening to Life with Mary Walter. Life with Mary Walter.
Life with Mary
Yes,
Walter.
you are. Hello, I am Mary Walter. How you doing? Hello. Thank you for joining us. Hi, James. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look, Al is here already. I'm door dashing with one phone and watching you with the other. He's multitasking.
I like it.
We appreciate that. And Bill is here as well. I think tonight it's going to be a little late because when I was posting everywhere, to remind everybody about the show, I was also posting. I did a hit on Sean Spicer's show earlier, so it was Sean Spicer and the podcast. So don't know if it got the same amount of play as it normally would, but remember, you can always go to YouTube and just look for Mary Walter Radio, and you can watch the podcast anytime you'd like, or you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can listen to them anytime you want as well. So do that too. So that's great. And a lot of people are doing it. So thank you so much for doing it. We appreciate that. And Tina is with us as well. Hello, Tina.
I know her.
Yes, you do. I'm not going to go there. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good. We had a really good time. We're friends of the family, and it was a blast. They have 2 great kids and 2 great dogs. So, times. And
do you have any dogs anymore? Or are they all gone?
all gone, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's worked out in the pandemic, I think, not having a dog, but
A lot of people got dogs during the pandemic.
the people that got lucky enough to stay home, as opposed to me out every minute of that pandemic nonstop. Just
That's very true.
I had that media thing on my car, the whole deal. Like there was never 1 second. I remember what it was like to go on highways on rush hour.
Oh, wasn't it great?
Nobody.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
It was really great. That's very true. Those of us who are essential personnel was kind of cool.
Essential personnel. Yeah.
Yeah, but that means we also have to go in the snow and hurricanes and everything else.
I remember literally driving to Hurricane Irene, which ironically at the time when I lived in Bucks County, PA, which is also up near North Jersey and Trenton, where they all got hit real hard for that, when it kind of skipped over the shore and bounced over there.
It skipped over the shore. We were all ready.
I was passing ships in the night with Irene.
Really?
I drove down the shore to cover the hurricane as it was kind of hitting the shore, and that was the worst of it, was my getting down there and the beginning of that. And then it kind of looped around and went and hit North Jersey, like Trenton, and all the way through Bucks County. And where I lived at the time in Bucks County, my the in-laws' place where we were shacking up. It was flooded like crazy up there. So
I remember. I totally remember. I just remember it because when you live at the shore where I live, the next town up, floods all the time. And which is one of the reasons when we were looking, for a place to live, we said, not there. I'm not living any place the Weather Channel always sends a reporter to. Right.
Yeah.
It's not doing that. You see that there's always people and they're like, well, this line here's from the storm in 1983. This one's here in 1992. And I'm like, no, we're not moving there.
Yeah, exactly.
Live there at all. No.
Yeah. Scary.
You have guinea pigs now, according to Tina.
True, I do.
No dogs. You have guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And Al says, howdy. Well, enjoy your dinner, Al. Enjoy your dinner.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think what else is going on. Nothing. That's about it. I'm just crazed with Christmas buying. And I've already ordered stuff, gotten it, and sent it back. I've already done that.
Good times.
Yeah, and I'm sending another box of stuff back. I'm like, nope, doesn't look like the picture. Back it goes. And I have one thing that I ordered 2 things from Walmart. One of them arrived, and one of them has been stuck in the facility in Jamaica, New York, waiting for the U.S. Postal Service to pick it up for 2 weeks now. And what was amazing to me is that, what's today, the 20th? So on the 27th, so 2 days ago, I checked on Walmart to see where it is, and it had the update for the 28th, which was the next day. It already had the update for the next day that said the exact same thing that it said for the last 2 weeks, which was awaiting USPS pickup in Jamaica, New York.
Good times. Love it. We've done this in the past, but it goes, thank you, Al. It goes to the juxtaposition of our personalities. When approximately do you start shopping?
Oh, well, here we go. So I'm a big sale person. So my presents that I got from my nieces, because my brothers and I, we all decided that we're only buying for the kids, not for us, because the adults, my 2 brothers, their significant others, and my husband and I, we said, oh, we'll do a Secret Santa with the 6 of us. Right. And so we put everybody's name in a hat, and we had a $50 limit. And literally one Christmas, we all gave each other $50 gift cards. I'm like, well, we were like, this is dumb. Like, why should we go out and pay, $5.50 to give you a $50 gift card when everyone is all doing the same thing? So we stopped doing that. So we stopped doing that. So we just buy for the kids. So my nieces now are there. I mean, one's a sophomore in college. The youngest is a sophomore in college, and the other two are out of school. One just graduated, and the other graduated in 2020. So I have a limit that I spend on them, but there's one product, and I can't say what it is because you don't want to give it away in case they see this, which I don't think they're going to. Yeah, but you never know. So, and my sister-in-law's birthday is January 3rd. So I always get her a present because she always buys me. We always get a present from the girls, but it's my brother and sister-in-law. They always give us birthday presents and a Christmas present because we give presents to the girls, right? So on this one website that I go to, they have great sales around Christmas, and their product is very expensive. But because I've give it on Christmas so often to family members and myself, I gift myself as well. I got a special code that was only good for like 5 hours. So my sister-in-law's gift, I saved almost $190.
Wow.
Like normally she never would have gotten this gift, but the code, everything was on sale, but it was also, because of the code, I saved $190 on her gift. And I saved $100 on each one of my niece's gifts. And my niece on the other side. So I acted quick. Like that code was good. It's only good for 5 hours or the next, whatever it was. And it had a thing that was ticking down, and it was a by mail only type code that you got. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Right. No, when online, I was like, oh, I saved like 75%. I was like, okay, here we go. So that's done. Those are all bought. Although my sister-in-law's is going back tomorrow because the color's awful. The color's totally wrong on it. That's going back. But they're honoring the code because I ordered something else, and they're going to honor the code. So it's great. So
very wise. So you start early.
Done. I do, because I'm a big fan of discounts. I'm a big fan of bargains. I'd rather start early and get a bargain than, the week before Christmas trying to order stuff thinking and you might get a better price the week before Christmas. You might, but with the supply chain, until Biden's out of office, I don't know that I'm going to get it in time. Who knows? Like the one thing could be stuck in Jamaica, New York. I could have walked to Jamaica, New York, knocked on the door of the warehouse, said, could you please give me my package, and walked it back to New Jersey in less time than I've sat here waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also worried about that. I'm worried about the supply chain. So the only thing I have to do, and I'm going out tomorrow, is our gifts for the Jesse tree, at church.
Yeah.
And so I have to hit Boscov's because we got a boy. They're apparently only allowed to, I think, ask for one gift. So this kid, socks for 8 ages, boys 8 to 12. So 8 to 12 years. So I had to, of course, get on Facebook and ask people, well, what the hell size is 8 to 12 years old for a boy? And our friend James A. Here he is. He weighed in to help me steer me in the right way. And then we also took a girl, and she's a year old, and they just want a blanket for her, for a blanket for the little girl. So of course the boy got his socks, but my husband bought him a drone. And because they had like beginner drone, kids drone, so we got him that. Even bought him the extra battery because it was on sale. And then I'm going to get the blanket for the little girl, and I'm going to get 2 outfits for her as well. And I got her a little stuffed teddy bear as well. So
nice.
You can't just send the kids socks, right? Like, how do you do that? And I kind of think they know that people aren't going to get just socks for a kid,
right?
Like they kind of know you're going to get something else, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing that tomorrow, and then I'm pretty much done. So
if you count my girlfriend in the mix, we got one cousin a gift, and we'll probably do the rest of the shopping on the 22nd.
But why? Why wait? I mean, you have to run around to all the stores. You don't have a selection. The prices may not be better. A lot of people think prices get better the closer you get to Christmas. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't, especially if stuff is out of stock. Then it's not worth it. It's a pain in the butt. It's a hassle.
I think it's my diagnosed disease of LPS.
Yeah, no, I know. But
laziness, procrastination, stupidity. Yeah, for people who don't know.
Yeah, but somewhere along the line, don't you figure it out? Like,
yeah, 50.
50 what?
At 50? You know, like
At 50?
age 50?
You'll figure it out then?
I think so. I'm pretty close. I mean, I got a few this year. We'll get a few maybe before then, but I don't know how many I'll get before then. And I understand the logic and the wisdom, but you know, when is my life not half falling apart for fun?
I know, but that's because if you would think your life would be less falling apart if you actually paid attention to it. You know, I love you.
No, that's remember we used to ask people to write in their problems and we would diagnose them.
Right. We did.
I can listen to a couple of those. Yeah, that's right. We used to do that all the time.
That was so much fun.
Listener
email.
Listener email, yeah.
Send us your problem. We'll fix it for you.
We'll fix it for you.
We could do that too. If you want to send us your problem, we'll fix it for you. James A., of whom I was just speaking, who helped me out with the boys' sock dilemma, says, remember having to send a package back when the wife ordered a cast iron pan. She neglected to check the size of it. It was only like a single egg size and not a standard size one. That's so funny. I just went to when I went to a shower for my college roommate's daughter got married, and she wanted this cast iron frying pan. And of course, I cannot get it from the place, Williams Sonoma. Okay, thanks a lot. I'm not buying it from Williams Sonoma because it's upcharge. So I found the manufacturer, right? And I buy it from there because it's less money. But it's so funny. James is so right. You have to check the size. I'm like, oh, this one's so much less expensive, right? Like, why does she have to have this? And then check it out. And he's right. It's like an individual omelet pan, like it's a tiny little thing. You've got to be so careful.
That same way with size is exactly how they learn to get you with iPads, right? They get you in on the one iPad, but they're like, hey, it's only a few bucks more to go up to the next one that has this next feature. And you're like, great. But that one comes with way less memory. And then you go, oh, that's right. I want to add this much memory. And then for the amount it is to add the memory, you can just go like the iPad Plus or whatever the next one is, right? And then you're like, oh yeah, but I forgot. I also got to add the memory. And then you look at it and you went from a $400 iPad to an $800 iPad, and they guide you right in.
Like
just
that.
Because it's not the small pan. It's not the little iPad you really want. You realize you really do want them.
Well, so listen to this. So I did a little shopping for myself because there were some great sales. And so I've wanted a suede pocketbook, right? And in New Jersey, we say pocketbook. So the rest of the country, I'm sorry, you don't say pocketbook, but we say pocketbook in New Jersey. And it's not pocketbook, it's pocketbook. That's the way we say it. And I think it's our little part of the world that says pocketbook still. Nobody else says it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've always wanted a suede black one. So I found one. So I ordered, and they had a smaller one. So I'm looking at the size. The smaller one was more expensive than the big one. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I ordered the big one. Oh my gosh, you can carry like a small Romanian village in this big bag. It's so huge.
Oh, so it's supply and demand. Everybody wants the smaller bag. Nobody wants the giant super bag.
And guess what? I sent it back. Because it was just, it's like, my husband said, well, you could use it as an overnight bag. I'm like, that's not why I want it. I don't want it as an overnight bag. So that went back. But now I know why the big one was less expensive than the small one. So it doesn't always work the other way around. He won't wait. I won't let him. So you're doing your shopping early, dude. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, Ringo. She's got this. Sure.
So, all right. So a couple of things that along these lines of which we are speaking. I don't know if you saw, but Frontier Airlines did something that has made the news. An airline spokesperson. An airline spokesperson. Sorry, I had a Fetterman moment. Told CNBC they cut their telephone service to help customers, quote, get the information they need as expeditiously and efficiently as possible. They shut down their customer support lines. So you can't call Frontier Airlines anymore and get a human being. You can't call and get customer service at all anymore. Anytime. But they said that to get the information as expeditiously and efficiently as possible to customers. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't say a lot. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, why would you completely kill your customer care line?
Right. Well, Al says he's studying crystal healing. All right. Well, good. That's great. Okay. So who is this? The audit, when you call, you get this message. At Frontier, we offer the lowest fares in the industry by operating our airline as efficiently as possible. We want our customers to be able to operate efficiently as well, which is why we make it easy to find what you need at flyfrontier.com or on our mobile app. Did that really well. Sounded
You
like a
did.
message. Thank you.
Scary, and I would just take Southwest, right? Like, or whatever. Like, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
I'm turned
change
off
was
already.
made. The change was made last week. Frontier executive Jack Valine said, "We're supporting higher labor rates in the voice channel, and we're limited to this one-to-one interaction." And he said that a chat agent could handle 3 inquiries at once. So they're gonna have one person with like 3 chats going on 3 different computers, or one screen with 3 different chats, right? The chat option would also, quote, remove negotiation from conversations. So you can't negotiate your price down, I guess, now, which I guess they were doing before. I don't know. In June, and they talk about customer service with airlines, and that's what I want to talk about with customer service in your horror stories, because you know me, I have the worst customer service stories of any human being on the face of the planet. I just do. They see me coming. I don't know what it is, but I do. In June, an American Airlines passenger drove 45 minutes to Denver Airport after he was left on hold for almost 4 hours.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
an Air Canada passenger told Insider he made 76 calls in July in an attempt to track down his lost luggage, but only managed to get through to an agent 3 times.
Yeah. I feel
So
like
now, can you imagine? James A says, geez, did you just sound like one of those annoying pre-recorded bots that answer the line when you call places? Why, yes, I did.
ooh,
Thank you for commenting, James. We appreciate your service.
all of our blood pressures just went up real high right now. We're all like, kill the computer, please.
We appreciate your business. Please stay on the line. Can you tell I do voiceovers?
Yeah. I just noticed this, and just a quick aside to that, the CVS guy who's on hold is the same guy who's like on I don't know, some other government agency I was sitting waiting on hold. I'm like, how did they nab the CVS guy for their hold stuff?
No, a lot of money, government,
Yeah.
big bucks.
That's right. Big bucks.
So here's the thing. Have you ever done one of those online chats when you try to get customer service? Have you done that?
Mm-hmm.
So I've done it, and I wish I was trying to remember who it was today, because a lot of times it's fine and you can get through and they handle it and things are great, right?
No.
But one time, I can't remember who it was. It was a bot, and it was clearly a bot. And it was the most annoying thing ever. It's like when you get the automated system, right? And
Yeah,
you
totally.
and you're like, no, that's not what I want. I have a different problem. And they don't give you the option. I'm sorry. Did you say, say one of the following? You're like, no.
Because they're also trying to type it not like a boss, so they're trying to put it in. I found 5 solutions for you. Did any of these help?
Right. And you're like, no. And they're like, okay, give me a minute. And then they go to the next one. How about these? Like, okay, give me a minute. And then they go back and you're back at the beginning and you just want to just reach to the phone. I had that on a computer chat. Never had that before. One time I had it on a computer chat.
Yeah, it's annoying. And you're right. I think what I don't like about the airline. Oh, Social Security.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Why were you calling Social Security? You're not
she was.
close. Okay, not close either.
Yeah. They the problem with the idea that there's not any form of human service whatsoever. Like, I can understand going to we're going to go to a more computer generated system. It's going to be much easier. It's going to be much faster. Like encouraging people to learn Spanish and do the customer service in Spanish, because always less traffic there. If you can speak Spanish, you should go there. Is the point.
Well, we're all going to be speaking Spanish anyway. They're going to rewrite the
Very soon, right.
Constitution in Spanish.
So right. So you know what I mean? Like, there's always been these concepts of these other options. I just think it's impossible in a modern age still to not have at some end somewhere a human representative that's going to solve a problem that just can't be resolved online.
Well, that's apparently where they're going. So my package that's stuck in Jamaica, New York.
Right.
Here's what I've learned to do. And I've done this several times now. It worked with United Airlines, and it's worked with others as well. And it worked recently, so far anyway. No resolution to it, but Walmart. You get on Twitter. And you say, so what I did is I took a screenshot a couple days ago on the 27th of, hey, anybody else notice anything wrong with this? Besides the fact that my package has been in Jamaica, New York for 2 weeks, for almost 2 weeks now, with this exact same, still waiting for the Postal Service to come pick it up. I said, anybody else notice anything? Like they've got tomorrow's update already posted when it's not even tomorrow.
Look,
So they already know the Postal Service isn't coming to pick it up. And I said, seriously, Walmart? They got back to me and they chatted with me. And I gave them the order number, my email, the whole bit, and they're checking into it. It's been a day and they haven't gotten back to me. So I don't have high hopes. But but at least they responded. And when I was flying from Montana back to Washington, D.C., we were out there in the summer and we came back, and it took us, 18 hours to get home. It was just insane. And I've done it another time when we were flying from Mexico back to the United States, and we got stuck because of weather. Everything was shut down, and we got diverted to, I want to say, Raleigh, North Carolina, Virginia,
Yeah.
whatever. But and the airport was shut down. It
Oh,
was closed, and they couldn't handle international flights, so they wouldn't let us off the plane. But we had been on that plane forever. They finally let us off into like just a deserted baggage claim area, and we weren't allowed to leave it. And they brought in like a couple pizzas, and everybody got one slice, and everybody got one bottle of water. And we were just laying on the conveyor belts. And I kept tweeting to United as the passenger, the hostages of flight, blah 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 blah, right? Because we couldn't get out anywhere. But they do respond. They
yeah.
respond. Who does not respond? Campbell's did not respond when I tweeted about not being able to get the cream of mushroom soup with the roasted garlic in it.
Really?
Couldn't get that at my ShopRite, which I always get it at
Well,
ShopRite. Could not get it.
I was going to sidecar this real fast. Speaking of that, do you know down our area right now, there's a fat-free and low-fat half and half shortage. I know it sounds crazy, but a massive shortage, not anywhere down by me.
Wow.
Not 3 ShopRites, 2 Acme's, a Wawa, gone.
Well, the Pineys, there's not a lot of people drinking the fat-free half and half.
So the resupply is why it's so terrible, right? Like we just had a holiday.
I'm going to go with
Normally
that.
the resupply chain would be faster, and now how crappy the resupply chain is, it's just not there right now.
Don't worry, Pete Buttigieg has been working on it for like a year and a half, 2 years now. So he'll get it any day now. He'll figure it out.
I'm hopeful. But I'll give a plug for some great customer service. And it started off, not as a nightmare the way it sounds, but I'm into the guitar pedal thing, and there's a company called JHS.
Yes,
And
a guitar pedal.
But I made a trade with them. That's how my first interaction with them was to make a trade for some stuff, right? Some vintage stuff for some new stuff. And then my thing shipped, and then nothing showed up. So, being the nice guy for a little while, I just assumed like busy people, busy company, we'll kind of let it go for a bit until it got to like a nice, safe, proper range. And I just sort of sent a thing over to their customer service, and they were like, let's take a look into this real fast. And amazingly, everything changed. They jumped right on it. They got everything figured out and fixed, and then right out, nicest people ever. So I love it when you find a company that's real responsive and is willing to go, yeah, hey, we made that mistake. We're sorry. We got this.
But it's amazing. Customer service. There's some companies I will not use. When I was trying to get the furniture for the porch, because I bought most of the furniture on our porch, because our porch is huge. It's an old Victorian. It's almost 150 years old. And the front porch, which, there was no air conditioning in the summer. There's no air conditioning in this house until about 8 years ago. So the front porch was where you went and you sat, right? And there's a sleeping porch and the whole bit. And so it's 55 feet long and it's 16 feet wide. So it's huge. So I have a lot of space to put furniture. So I bought almost every single piece I bought on Facebook Marketplace for like $25 here, $75 there, this old wicker furniture, especially in the retirement communities. When somebody dies, the kids don't want it. Right. So like, yes, please come and take my grandmother's furniture. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I needed tables. I was in desperate need of tables. So I went to this webpage and they had some tables that I really liked. I'm like, oh, okay. So I order, and they sell things by like love seats, chairs, tables. And then they also have complete sets, but they also have it broken down. So I ordered 2 or 3 tables, and they how much it is, blah, 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 and then they call me, or they email me back, and they rejected my order like, why did you reject my order? What's wrong with my order? Oh, we don't sell just the tables. You have to order another piece of furniture, like a chair or something like that, or a couch, in order to get the table. I said, but I ordered 3 tables. And like, yeah, no, we can't do that. I'm like, well, it's not like you're breaking up a set. Like, this doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't sell me just the tables, even though you can go online and order just the tables. They wouldn't sell me just the tables. It was the dumbest thing ever. So my husband's like, this is stupid. Order a chair, get everything delivered. We'll ship the chair. Ship the chair back. I'm like, that's a pain in the butt. It's just a pain in the butt to go through to ship a chair. That's annoying. So then I found another place who were wonderful, and it's a small family run operation in North Jersey, and they were fantastic. They're like, yeah, what do you want? They were great. You know, they were wonderful to work with. You know, they were really, they also had a wacky thing too with shipping. And I was like, okay, so this doesn't make a lot of sense. And I got an email from a gentleman who actually owns the company. He said, you know what, you're 100% right. That doesn't make any sense. And we're going to change it. So yeah, here you go. It was great.
It was one of those. So what you do is you email me the thing, and then I'll send it back to you. We'll send it back over again. I'll re-sign it. I'll send it over to these people. Everybody goes kind of crazy, like, whoa, hold on there. Hold on that ship. Yeah,
do you know, I will tell you, Overstock.com to this day doesn't know if I ever received the bar I ordered from them. They washed their hands of it. They lost it, had no clue where it was. And so I found the shipping company. I don't forget how I found the shipping company contacted me, and it turns out it was just sitting in a warehouse in Jamesburg, New Jersey for like months.
Mm-hmm.
And Wayfair Overstock had no clue where it was. So I went with the shipping company, got it delivered. They still don't know if I had ever got it.
It's amazing that way. There's some big music companies that sell products that'll come broken. They'll be like, we'll just keep it. We'll send you another one. But the break could be like a $20 repair or a $50 repair.
I know.
Something stupid. You're like, you're going to send me another $1,000 thing for a $25 repair? Like, are you insane? Like, okay.
You know who's good with that? Wayfair. Wayfair was good with that. I got to give Wayfair props. They were great with that. We ordered just rugs, like for the front door when you come in, and it's made out of like recycled bottles or something like this, like plastic. It's polypropylene or whatever, propylene. And I needed it to cover an inlay in the floor, so I needed a specific size, and I ordered the specific size. And it was like 2 feet short, 2 inches shorter on one side, 3 inches short. I'm like, this isn't even close. So I showed it to them, and they said, I said, you know, they said, all right, we'll send you another one. And they said, but you can just keep that. I'm like, well, I don't need it. I don't want to keep it. You can have it back. And so I did ship that one back to them. There was nothing wrong with it. They sent another one, and that one had the side of it was all frayed. Like there was this just like coming up. They're like, yeah, keep it. I was like, all right. And then they finally sent me the third one. But they were great about it. I mean, I wasn't scamming them by saying, oh, I want to keep this one for free. It came and it was unraveling. But I would see where people take advantage of that. But
all the time. I also see I see where you can apparently buy up a lot of that stuff too. You can find you could buy whole things of just returned or broken nonsense for pennies on the dollar, or just stuff that was returned. Like it's a whole mix of stuff.
Right.
Online people I watch, and they'll get these ridiculous stuff that comes mixed with junk, but you know, some stuff in there. You're like, oh my God, this is worth $800 or whatever, you know, like
right. I would wind up with a bunch of broken Hummels and, you know, like a rug that a cat peed on or something, you know, like, and I'd have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Al says he tweeted about PNC and he got instant service. Good for you.
Nice.
Tina says Chewy is amazing about their products. Chewy's really good too. James A says it's a write-off for them, James. They'll just claim the loss.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And
Tina, I just figured out why James looks different. He's not wearing a hat.
Huh.
To Al, who said you look different. You're not wearing a hat. I don't think you're wearing a hat. You don't always wear a hat.
And I also trimmed up my beard like an adult human. And
wow,
not like a bear.
Look at you growing up.
No, I told you by 50, I can have it all together by 50.
So yes, I just thought customer service, topics would be a lot of fun to talk about.
Oh, that's
Okay,
funny.
here's another fun. This one, James and I can both relate to. We want to hear your stories about getting fired. So just start typing them in now. I will read them on air. Actually, let me check over here. Oh, John says, hello to two of my favorite people over on Getter. Hi,
Okay, sure.
John. He and his wife are two of my favorite people. So there you go.
Oh.
He's a neighbor. So I appreciate it. Thank you, John. So, all right, getting fired. James and I, how many times have you been fired? I can't remember that. I've been 2, 3 in radio that I can think of. 3 in
Okay.
radio. But if you don't get fired in radio, like everybody gets fired. Like that's not a thing. And when I was a consultant, contracts would end and you'd be done, right? And that was it. And my father couldn't understand. He's like, why do you keep getting fired? I'm like, I didn't get fired. The contract ended. If they wanted to extend the contract, they could. But when the project's done, they usually don't extend the contract just because you're nice. Like they're not just gonna. It's not what they do. So he thought I just kept getting fired, and I had to keep explaining that's not what was happening. And then I was just like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm horrible." And
It's my 30th job.
Exactly. So the reason I asked the question, are you right?
Yep.
United Furniture Industries is being sued after laying off approximately 2,700 employees via email and text messages the week just before Thanksgiving. Most of the people were home. They weren't at work.
Oof.
Can you imagine getting fired via text? I mean, that's just bad. I think that's really bad.
Sorry, buddy, we're done.
Yeah.
What the?
Well, it's like, do you remember? I don't know if you watched Sex in the City, where one of the guys broke up with Sarah Jessica Parker's character, but with a sticky note.
Oh.
He just left a sticky note and beat feet. Al says you're trimming your beard because you're in love.
Check.
Check. Oh, there you go. Here's what they say. So now there's a problem. So now there's a lawsuit against the company. The plaintiff, one of the people who's the lead plaintiff in the case against them, is a former employee of 8 years. And according to court documents, they say they're representing thousands of others who were affected. They're challenging the company over what the plaintiff is challenging the company over what she claims is a violation of the Federal Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, or the WARN Act, WARN Act. The WARN Act requires that under certain conditions, employers give their workers 60 days notice before the plant closing or mass layoff. Now, I guess that only applies to people who work in plants, because I don't know about you, but I never got 60 days warning.
No.
No. The attorney advocating for the former employees, Jack Simpson, said they weren't given that warning, and they weren't given 60 days of severance pay. It's an and/or. You get the warning, or you get the 60 days of severance pay. He said, I've spoken to a husband and a wife who both lost their jobs at the same time. That's the thing. You never work in the same place if you're married, ever, 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 because of things like this. You don't do it. An individual who has stomach cancer and is worried about affording his medication, and another individual who has to decide between postponing a surgery or paying the medical expenses out of pocket. This is a tragic situation. It's hard to understand. Those types of things are tough, but you know what? Part of life, like you may get fired at a really bad time. I don't think there's ever a good time to be fired, but I'm sure for the vast majority of people, it's just a crappy time because it's the holidays. So it's a really crummy time. But I got fired the day before Thanksgiving. The first time I got fired, the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. By the way, don't come back. Bye-bye.
And that 60-day severance thing, I mean, that still doesn't make it any better. I mean, I'm sure it helps on some level per se, but I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
But it's not a solution to anything. That's just a good luck.
Right. He says more than 100 of the furniture company's ex-employees have now hired his firm. The fired employees were told that the layoffs were due to unforeseen business circumstances. The layoffs were expected to be permanent, and that all benefits would be terminated without provision of COBRA, which is the federal law that gives people who lose a job an option to keep their employer-sponsored health insurance coverage under some circumstances, but they ain't getting that. Which is interesting because this is the largest furniture place provider maker in the country, and that's because I think this the generation like that's coming up now, Gen Z, whatever, they love IKEA. Like they love that. They want to live in a warehouse. They want everything to be sleek and modern and inexpensive. They don't want anything that mom and dad had. They want everything to be like fiberboard. and nothing, it's not dovetail construction and the cabinets or, the drawers or anything like that. It's just, a lot of it is just really not meant to be around for a long time, but that's what they love. So I wonder if that's why this company's going out of business, or doing all these firings.
Well, I mean, and there is something to the idea of like it's furniture designed for people who aren't going to use it long, right? I mean, it's city furniture. It's designed for your,
right,
your 6-month rental or your whatever, and you're going to get out. You're not going to move that furniture. Who's going to move IKEA furniture? You buy new IKEA furniture, right?
Right. Well, but that's the problem. That's a problem because this generation's so green. They're so green, right? Yet they are the most disposable generation to ever come along, ever. Everything is delivered to their home in disposable containers, right? Disposable diapers, everything is disposable. Furniture is disposable. They don't want rugs. They don't want this, that, and the other thing because they just want they don't recycle anything. They don't want anything of their parents. They don't reuse anything, but yet they're the greenest generation. It doesn't make sense.
I think part of it is they recycle everything, but then if you learn what recycling really is, you start getting really nervous.
Right, but they recycle ones and twos as they're dutifully supposed to do.
Right.
But their furniture they'll throw out at the curb for somebody to take away and dump in a landfill.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense to me. James, they say, isn't that what Elon did? Sent out an email to people. Well, but they got 90 days severance. He paid them for 90 days if you got booted. So if I knew that I was going to get an email. You got an email. It was like college. You got an email like, yay, you're in, or no, you're not. But with the no, you're not, we're also going to pay you for 90 days. That's pretty sweet. I've never worked for a company that did that. My last gig, I only had a 90-day buyout just because I had an agent and a lawyer and a really good contract. So that's why I got paid.
Right.
Because
in my only radio firing was a company takeover, and I was low man on the totem pole, and not necessarily anybody, and only got back in because I was the only one who knew how to run the Eagles.
Yeah.
So my short little firing quickly turned into a, hey man, can you run the Eagles again? I got back in.
So Al says he's never been fired. I don't know. It's kind of like, good for you. That's great. But to me, that's like a guy who says, well, I've never been dumped. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
You cut
okay.
and run too soon. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. Cut and run too soon. Right. My favorite firing ever was when I worked at Pep Boys and Red Hot Hens. And both places told me I had to work on a Saturday, like one for inventory and the other one because they were low. It was like a chicken.
Red Hot Hens? A chicken place. Okay.
It was like a chicken food place. And and they both told me I had to be there. So I don't know why I decided Pep Boys was the one that was going to win. I guess they seemed like it was the most critical, quote unquote. And I called out sick and went to the job. And my manager, I got heard, James, pick up on line 2. And I grabbed line 2. And it's my boss from the other place. He's like, hey, James, it's Pascal. I'm like, hey, buddy. He goes, you don't have a job, right? I'm like, yeah, gotcha. It's like, thanks.
I have to tell you, that's a crummy thing that you did. That's a really crappy thing because somebody else then had to work an extra shift because of you.
Yep. I mean,
so
somebody was going to lose either way, but it was a terrible way to do it.
Yeah, it was kind of an immature way to do it too.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah. Al says DoorDash sent me a delivery request 2,601.9 miles away. I've never used DoorDash, so I'm going to assume that that's probably not how it works.
Yeah. Unless you're going by Amazon Jet or something.
Yeah. Could you pick up my stuff in Jamaica, New York, in Queens? Jerry, hi guys. James, I swear I saw your doppelganger in Brigantine the other day. My wife says it definitely wasn't you. Was it you?
It was not. I was not in Brigantine the other day.
Okay, it was not.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, there's more than one handsome man roaming the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, it's funny. I do go to Brigantine, so it could have been me in theory. I just wasn't there the other day.
All right. Yeah. So it's funny because, never having been fired. I mean, the first time you get fired, I was like, what? Like it was 3 weeks after we had evaluations. I got a raise. I had great ratings, and they were considering, it was back when the radio station was also being streamed on like local TV throughout the state, and New Jersey wide TV, like New Jersey 12 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing that with your show. Blah 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 blah. 3 weeks later, bye. Right, like gone. I was like, what? But the best part of it is they had to send me a bonus for my ratings because my ratings were so good. So after they fired me, they then had to send me a bonus for my ratings. And then the people that they put in my spot flamed out phenomenally. So it was great.
That's such a radio mentality too.
It is. It's so radio.
It's not the real meaning of the saying, but nothing fails like success is really a radio term too. Because man, the minute something's successful, they're like, yeah, we're done with this. That's good. We're out.
Exactly. So then I get rehired by the same station, but different owners. New owners bought the station. I get rehired back by them. I get fired again, 5 years, both times. I get fired again the second time. Guess what? They had to send me a bonus check for my ratings again.
Yep.
Because if you rank 1, 2, or 3, and you have different markets and different, there's a schedule, whatever you negotiate out. Yeah. And so basically, if you're 1, 2, or 3, one of the top 3 shows, then they have to pay you. It's an incentive bonus. So they had to pay me again. And then this last time, I won a Gracie. I was only on the air. I won for the 4.5 months that I was on the air of that year of 2021. I won a national award. So, and sat right next to my old boss. He was at the table right behind me. It was fantastic.
I was killing it on a morning show for a while, and that's when we got bought out. When things were just really killing, like in our little market, number 1 white males, 18, like all the beer money stuff, like all the stuff goofball morning shows would want, Yeah. The 2 guys had just hit like top 40 under 40 that year. They got that award. Like everything was just like humming our way. And then, things get bought. Things fail and things get bought. And then it's not like that anymore.
No.
New people come
in. And
they
usually when a radio station gets bought, I think it's like with some companies, they just go in and fire everybody. Even the receptionist gets fired. Every single person who worked there gets fired. Whether they deserve it or not, they all go. They just clean house. Everybody goes, and that's that. It's amazing. It's unreal.
Black Thursdays.
You know what's interesting? Not one other person got fired. Like nobody else had a story about getting fired. It's just you and me. Is it just a radio thing? Like I've never gotten fired from anywhere else, just radio.
Oh, I've been spectacularly fired from some really terrible jobs for just being a terrible human. I mean, oh yeah, but shocker there. When you're a musician, you learn you don't care about a lot of stuff. When you think you're gonna make it, when that's your goal in life, you burn through jobs. I used to joke like the bad part about only until recently that there were so many $10 an hour jobs were like through 2015 or 16 is that there were that many $10 an hour jobs or more in 1995. Like in the mid 90s, I used to laugh like, I don't care if you fire me. I could find a $10 an hour job anywhere. That used to be my joke. Like they were everywhere. You couldn't.
Well, now you can get a $15 an hour job anywhere.
Isn't that funny? Like it's only gone up $5 since the mid 90s. I mean, $10 hour jobs in the mid 90s were the same $10 an hour jobs in 2001, in 2004, in 2000. You know what I mean? Like it just kept. But it used to be when I was young and you're a musician, it was just like I just worked at a place to have money to burn for buying drums and surviving to trying to gig. So I went through a lot of like dumb retail jobs, temp jobs.
I did temp jobs. This will date me way long ago before I was out of college. I was a Kelly girl. Remember the Kelly girls? Remember Kelly girls, right? so I was a Kelly girl, but I got a great gig at AT&T and in the summer, and I kept doing it. And then it turned when I got out of college, I started doing, and it turned into a really great gig. And they wanted to hire me, but they weren't going to, I was making more money as a temp. Because what I would do is I got on this big project and they wanted to move us to a different location. It was further away because they wanted to get it. We were in corporate headquarters and everybody was on us. So it was this big team project. It was a huge company-wide project, nationwide project. And so we couldn't get anything done because people were constantly interrupting us and asking us questions and this and that and everything else. So they said, we're taking you out. We're taking your group out and we're moving you up towards Morristown. Like, Well, that's an hour away. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So they said, all right, I'll pay you an extra hour. I said, each way, because it's an extra hour home and an extra hour in. So I negotiated with my boss and he said, just put an extra hour on your time card every 2 hours on your time card every day. I said, all right, fine. Then I negotiated with the company that leased me out. And I said, they're making me drive longer and I'm not doing that. Like, okay, put in for an extra. I'm like, thank you.
That's good negotiating skills right there. That's actually 3 extra hours for
Four
2 extra.
extra
Oh, you got 'em
hours
already.
a day.
Oh, they gave you both hours for both companies. Oh, yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a little raise.
Yeah, that was
Covered your
really,
gas
that was
and a
making,
little raise.
that was, James, that was stupid money at the time. That doesn't happen anymore. AT&T got all broken up. AT&T is not the same game it used to be. Like those corporate gigs aren't that way anymore. They don't have, and you don't have those temp jobs the way you used to have them.
No, I see what temp jobs are now, and they're like, yeah, you can work at CVS as a inventory person for a week, and then you can. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, you never know. It's a job. It's a job.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we only have like 10 minutes here. So I can't believe nobody had any I got fired stories. Really, people? Really? Thank God. Thank God James and I work in an industry where people get fired all the time
Oh yeah.
for literally no reason whatsoever. You just get fired like, oh, which is why my friends in radio who have these huge egos, and I'm like, okay, just wait. Like I used to work with someone who thought he was a real big deal. And he's like, yeah, they got my picture up on the wall in a pizzeria in Freehold. He named the pizzeria in Freehold. And I'm like, that's great, but they don't know who you are in Spring Lake. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and when you get fired, your picture's coming down off the wall. It'll last like 6 months, and then your picture's coming down off the wall. I don't know how to tell you that. So, like, if I never, that never, ever, ever mattered to me. Like, never. I never cared if anybody knew who I was. I never cared about any of that stuff. And I know so many people in radio who lived for that, and I was just like, it could be all over tomorrow, sweetheart.
Boy, digital must ruin their lives when you realize, like, I joke, like the difference between radio and podcasts is, especially if you're trying to sell inside baseball stuff, but like selling advertising is, like, in digital world, how many people are listening to you. There's not a question. I not know how many, I know where they're coming from, all that kind of stuff, right? Radio is that crapshoot of the ratings, quote unquote, with people writing stuff in a diary and, like whatever people said they were doing. And it made people seem pretty famous when, and all of a sudden you get digital numbers, and some of the same people we're talking about with those big egos are like, how many people are listening to my show again?
They don't believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe it, right? They go, oh, well, that's just the ones that don't register or whatever they don't when they don't understand technology.
Exactly. All right, so let me ask you a quick question in the 15 or so minutes we have left. I did not know that, but did you know that there are some names that you cannot name your baby in America?
I did, but let's pretend I don't. I only know because there's one famous case. Yeah, there's a real famous case.
Are you talking about Elon Musk?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
There were those people that tried to name their baby Hitler.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. It's the only time I've ever, but that's the only one I even kind of vaguely know or remember even coming up. And like, wait, that's possible that somebody can question what we name your baby? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but.
Well, you see, and that's the question, because I've had some people, especially if they have a name tag on.
Yeah.
And her name was Uniquick, Uniquick.
Yeah.
And Uniquick, whatever. And I'm like, you're gonna have a job with a name tag for the rest of your life, because that name's gonna come across somebody's desk or a computer screen on a resume or a job form, and they're gonna go, oh, it tells you so much. They automatically know everything about you, a lot about you, when you've got a weird wacky name.
Yeah.
And then someone corrected me and said, no, her name was Unique. UNIK, Unique.
Which is not helpful.
Unique, which I was like, I thought it was Uniquick, but whatever. I was mesmerized by Uniquick's name and tag, and I felt really, really sorry for her. She's super nice, but I'm like, sweetie, you're going to be a checker at ShopRite forever. because of your name. So I always thought that like maybe there should be some kind of government entity or somebody in charge of saying, just slapping parents and going, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that to your child. That's really, really bad.
Or is it not my child, not my responsibility?
Yes.
It's dumb, but hey, big fan of not telling people how to live, and you're not my problem. And I mean, some
Agree.
reason you think naming your kid Hitler is a good idea. I think it's the stupidest thing that's ever going to happen. And I'm sure by first grade, you're going to learn why. But, maybe then you have to give him a nickname. I don't know. But I don't know if I want the government. Like, how do you make that list and how do you take that list apart, right? What's the criteria that says, like, well, Uniquick is bad, but Unique is good, but then you make sure you add a U. If you don't, you know how governments are, right? Like, they're doing so well with our healthcare. I can't imagine what the naming board would be like.
So here's the thing. James A says, wasn't there the weird one with ABCDE not long ago? Yes.
Yeah.
There
and then
was.
I think you said Elon Musk. Is that because his kid has a weird name that's like a symbol
Yeah.
with a dash and a dot or something?
Exactly. It's X space and then it's an A on an angle with an E, like so the A, the side of the A and the E are the same thing. So the A is like tilted over, and then space, and then a regular A-12.
I'm just going to throw out a guess here and say there's a disparaging difference in the economic stations of Elon Musk and his Saflop Barf name, wherever he said, and Uniquick, right? I'm betting they have disparagingly different social statuses at this point in their life. And who do you think the naming is going to affect more? Which is why I'm weird about government getting involved, because Elon Musk kid probably has a pretty good shot in life of not ever having to worry about anything. I'm just betting.
Well, yeah, you don't know if they ruin his dad on Twitter, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to bankrupt him, right?
Yeah, but he's got more money than he knows to do with. But I get your point. But I mean, statistically, I'm just saying odds of it being a problem for whatever that name implies, guy, girl, they, them, I don't know, whatever. And Uniquick, right? I mean, who probably wasn't born with $1 billion. His parents had $1 billion. I'm just saying.
Right.
But that's also why it's hard to decide, like, well, do we only worry about it for poor people? Do we worry about it for the rich people get a pass to name their kid whatever they want?
I think it should apply to everyone equally. Ron says, I have a really convoluted, they tried to fire me story, ended up in another part of the company with a raise. It did require a lawyer.
Good times. Well, you're loved at that job after a lawyer's involved.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for you, Ron.
That's awesome.
So here's what Elon Musk and the singer Grimes. Do you know who Grimes is? I've seen pictures. She's not that well. Elon Musk isn't that great looking either. In 2020, they had a baby and they tried to name their firstborn son, as I said, X, and then the A, slanted A with the E, in the state of California. They had to modify the name, the 1-2 in the kid's name to the Roman numeral XII. That's acceptable and in accordance with California state law, because you can't have numbers like 1, 2, 3. You could have I, like for the third.
Yeah.
So they could do X11, which is the Roman numeral 12. But it's still a disaster, the name. Well, who was it? Moon Unit Zappa, remember? Yeah. And who was the Moon Unit? What was the other one?
Weasel's the other son.
Weasel, right?
Weasel with a double, with a D.
And wasn't it David Bowie who named his kid Zoe, and it was Zoe Bowie?
Something like that. That sounds right. Yeah.
Why would you do that?
There's a lot of strange names out there for people. That's sort of my point. Like, I don't know. I know we're all like critical of other people and their things, right? And I'm sure they're I talk about my buddy all the time, Shannon Clapper. First of all, great stage name. It's a dude. He's a male nurse named Shannon Clapper. That's his real name, by the way. I'm sorry I'm giving out your real name, Shannon, but boy, nobody's gonna look at him. He's a good fellow. But that's a good Irish guy name, but not in America. Not here.
Right.
That never transferred over here. So it's spelled exactly the same. So is what it is.
Yeah.
Now,
so
he's fantastic.
Go ahead. Finish, and I'll tell you.
Oh, he's my buddy. I love him. It's a great name, but he's used it for both to be funny and for he's smart. He knows how to use it for the way that people exactly how they take it when they first hear or see it. You have to like.
But I would think that having the last name of Clapper, you get way more problems with the clap, Clapper, that kind of thing. There's a lot of last names that just because you have a children doesn't mean that name should be carried on. I understand every man wants his name and his genes and blah blah blah, but there are some names that should not be passed on. They just shouldn't.
Yeah, like Thomas.
Yeah, I don't understand David Davidson. Why do parents do that? James Jameson. I don't. Did your parents not have? Did they run out of names? How many older siblings do you have where they said, well, you know what, they're all taken, so we're just gonna have to go with this one?
That's right.
Who does that?
I know. My Thomas, his whole gag was, "Hello, Mr. Thomas. No, please call me Thomas." Stuck in a lot life,
And these women like change their names like hell, willy-nilly. I'm like, why? My mother had a friend and her name was Victoria.
Okay.
And so she married a man and his last name was Wiki. The woman wound up marrying him, and for the majority of her life, she went through life as Vicky Wiki. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why? I would be like, you know what? I love you. I didn't change my name when I got married because my husband's name is stupid to spell. And my initials would have been Mel, M-E-L, and so I could never have anything monogrammed. So, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of paperwork. I see no reason to do it. James A. say, I screwed with teachers in high school. I wrote my name as James with an 8 instead of an A, so it's J-A-8-M-E-S. On paper, when asked, I said, oh, the 8 is silent. So he added the 8 in. The 8 is silent.
I had a nickname like that, P-H-A-T-T-Q, and the Q is silent. It's just fat with two T's. Yeah.
Al said I had a nurse named Tierney in the hospital. I called her Tyrant.
My favorite doctor was Quiet, and it was pronounced Quate. But look, it was spelled Quiet. Yeah.
Then most people are going to say Quiet. When it's spelled that way, then that's how people are going to pronounce it. You give your kids these wacky, crazy spellings. So, all right. So, other name it's done in the U.S. by state law. There's no federal law, so it's done by state law. Other name guidelines in California include restricting names to 26 characters in the English alphabet. There's a ban on pictographs, emojis, and obscene or derogatory names. So you can't name your kid Hitler.
Right.
You can't name your kid little S. I wonder if that's why Kira Cedric didn't take Kevin Bacon's last name, Kira Bacon. See, I think it's because she was an actress known as Kira Sedgwick, so she didn't want to change it, probably. It's kind of like Courtney Cox when she married David Arquette and she became Courtney Cox Arquette.
Let's say so hyphen, yeah.
And then she went back to Courtney Cox when they got divorced. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. As I said, birth certificates fall under state jurisdictions. According to a report from usbirthcertificates.com, here's a guideline. All right, so 5 states. Georgia, the state of Georgia only prohibits symbols, including accents. So if your name is Renee with an accent over the E, you can't have the accent over the E in Georgia. And you can't have like umlauts over a letter in a German name or anything like that. Or that little squiggly line that a lot of Mexican and like Spanish names will put over the N or something. You can't have.
We're not gonna have crazy symbols over our names.
Yeah, no crazy symbols. Because the typewriter doesn't have it on it. In New York, a 30-character limit for first and middle names and a 40-character limit for last names. Can you imagine some kid who's got 30 characters in their first name and 40 characters in their last name?
Like some weird Hawaiian.
That kid can never take the SATs. They'd run out of space.
That's right.
Fill in all the boxes. Wait, look at what Taylor Lautner and his new wife Taylor Dome. If she takes his last name, Taylor Lautner, she'd be Taylor Lautner again. They'd both be Taylor Lautner. Yes. My friend has a
That's
cat
true.
named called Herpes. I won't even name my animals not human names, let alone a kid. Well, I would
Mhm.
name my animal not human names. I think sometimes that's cute, but
Yeah, but not herpes.
herpes, that's ridiculous.
It is. It's silly. Cute cat though. Adorable kitty. But
The guys across the hall from us when I was in college had a cat named Shit for Brains. Um,
wow. I just
they
had
called
pickles
it.
monkey. Shit for brains. Jeez. That's aggressive.
Yes. That you also in New York, you cannot have you cannot have a number or a symbol in your name. In Ohio, you cannot have any numbers. No numbers. You can't have numbers and names. I think anywhere in the U.S. But they're allowed to have hyphens in Ohio, apostrophes, and spaces in their names. Because
A
there are some
space?
people who love that apostrophe, like la, and then
Yeah.
an apostrophe, Latisha,
Yeah.
la, whatever, an apostrophe, and whatever. You see that a lot,
You can do it in
especially in
Jersey.
African American names. What?
Yeah. You can do it in Jersey. I know that.
Yeah, they love the apostrophe in the name. I just think it just makes for a lot of work. Jerry says, well, that Georgia law clears things up. People who voted for Stacey Abrams were probably disenfranchised. He put an umlaut. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, he put an umlaut over the second A in Abrams. People who voted for Stacey Abrams were probably disenfranchised. Oh my God. Did you ever see the Key and Peele skit where he's the substitute teacher, the black teacher in the white classroom?
I don't
And he's
know.
calling the kids names and he's like he goes, all right, let's take roll. And he's calling Matt. He goes, D nice, D nice. And nobody raises their hand. She's like, do you mean Denise? Don't mess with me, Denise. and then he calls Aaron. Aaron. And he's like, do you mean Aaron? I'll send you to the principal. It's really funny. And it's very funny.
They had a really early skit about PC culture. The
did
one
they?
with the two gay guys that are in the office together.
I haven't seen
And
that one.
the one gay guy thinks the other gay guy is, anti-LGBTQ, and he's a gay guy. He's like, it's so crazy. Like the one guy just picking at him and picking at him, and the other guy's just trying to do his job.
I'm gonna have to look that one up, but
Yeah.
I'll send you the one. You should look it up with
I will.
the substitute teacher.
They're
very
really
funny.
funny. Yeah.
Navin Aura Johnson had a unique name for his dog.
What was it?
What am I missing? What am I missing there? I can't figure out what I'm missing.
I feel like this is a Mulva moment for me all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Seinfeld fan.
Yes.
I'm missing this somehow, right? Where's the Mulva in this situation that I'm
Yes,
missing?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where am I missing? Hold on, maybe we'll find out. The movie The Jerk.
Oh, right.
Oh, right.
I
What
was
did he
just
name
talking
his
about Steve
dog?
Martin too.
What did he name his dog? Spot? What did he name his dog?
I know it's been a minute. So
James, tell us what he named his dog.
Yeah,
I don't
lay it
remember.
out for us.
Yeah, I don't remember at all what he named his dog.
I always do I love the Steve Martin thing where he talks about if you ever want to play a joke on a baby, anytime you're around children, they learn to talk from their parents. So anytime you're around them, you need to talk wrong. So it's kid's first day at school and he raises his hand. May I mambo dog face to the banana patch? Give that kid a special test.
Oh, they think it's Joe Biden.
Right, Joe Biden, right? Yeah.
Dog face pony soldier.
Oh God, dog face pony soldier. Oh God, so good. Oh, that's a great one.
Okay, if you're in Texas, you have a 100 character limit on your first, middle, and last names. Can you even imagine? That kid will never have one of those little red license plates to go on the back of their bicycle.
Or name tag.
Or name tag or anything.
Yeah.
Let's see. Each name can be written only in the English alphabet in Texas, and Texas also prohibits numbers and diacritical marks like umlauts and accents and tildes in names. In Virginia, you can't use numbers. I mean, I think we're hearing that for every state. You can't use numbers, symbols, or other special characters, including umlauts and tildes in names. Prohibited baby names include King, Queen, Jesus Christ, I, like the third, just I, Santa Claus, Majesty, Adolf Hitler, Messiah, the @ symbol, and 1069.
1069. Am I missing a reference there?
I don't know. Maybe because they're numbers,
Oh yeah, I guess.
but it's just random that that's the one.
Why not Joseph Stalin then? Why not Mao? Why not? Wouldn't they all be on the ban list, right?
Well, I would assume so, but I'm sure this isn't the full list.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it's not the
It's
full list.
just examples of band
right. There's
names.
probably, yeah. I'm sure you can't go
Right.
Joseph Stalin then.
Other names that can be rejected. from
S-head,
birth
right. Oh, right. Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
that's right. Yeah, come here. Yeah,
Thank you, James. That's right. Christine says James wants to name his next dog Engelbert Humperdinck. Hump.
Yep, sure.
Well, you had Pickles.
I had Pickles. And
Pickles for a long time. All right. Other names that can be rejected from birth certificates are names that reference trademarked brands. So you can't call your kid Nike. And disparaging terms can also be rejected, according to the website. So, all right.
So Dum Dum might not fly.
Dumb. You cannot name your child Dum Dum. No, I'm sorry, James, but you are not allowed to do that. It's just so funny. All right. So we are out of here. It's the end of the show. We will be with you on Thursday. You're going to be here Thursday, James? Yes, James will be here Thursday. Tomorrow, of course, is the day that I'm running around to get all the stuff for the Jesse Tree kids. And I got to run around and get a bunch of stuff. And we're having 23-mile-an-hour winds. We have a gale warning, and it's going to be pouring rain. I was like, if you told me pick the one day this week, that you're going to have gale warnings without looking at the weather. If you asked me last week to pick the one day next week where it's going to be miserable, and that's the day you're going to run your errands and I'll give you $1 million, I couldn't have done it. 23-mile-an-hour winds, gale warnings, and pouring rain. And
Great.
I'm going shopping.
Good.
Going to Boscov's and Michael's tomorrow. So
Loads of fun.
all right. Yeah, I know how to have a good time. Everybody, thank you so much. It was great having you join us. Don't forget to join us on Thursday, 7:15 for the political version. There is so much to talk about. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. So we will do that on the political show coming up on Thursday. Have a fantastic couple days. We'll see you.
You got 1,000 people dancing and you still don't mind. All plugged in and you lose control. Well, nobody's even sure this is rock and roll.